Hey there kids, welcome back. David from Atomic Candy, and right now we are open by chance, and what I'm opening up with for you here today is the long-awaited, believe me, long-awaited MEZCO 1/12 Collective Hulk Gladiator from Thor Ragnarok. People have been waiting for this one for a long time, and this is a figure that is really not getting very much love. A lot of people are disappointed with it, and I'm gonna get into that a little bit here as I do the review. I have not really looked at other people's reviews because I don't want my comments to be jaded. Let's go ahead and get it out of the bag here while we're talking. They always put it sealed in a bag like this, which I like because it helps to keep it from getting wet if it, for example, gets left on your porch. But a lot of people who are MEZCO fans are frustrated with this figure. And again, without looking at other people's reviews, because I want to be able to give an honest personal commentary, we're going to look into why that is. Now you see also there is a plastic sleeve that is over a cardboard sleeve that is over the main figure package. And this is the new box design, which I've expressed this in other videos. I don't really care for the new box design where they just put a sleeve over a generic box, a generic black box like that one, because it's easier to counterfeit, and there's already a problem with that. There's already a big problem with MEZCO products getting counterfeited overseas. And I also don't like how they generically just kind of put Thor Ragnarok on the front of the package instead of making it unique to Hulk. The only thing that's unique to Hulk is the back of the package, where it shows you what comes in the package. Another thing that's a little misleading, and it actually threw me off in one of the reviews, is how it says 6 interchangeable hands, but when you see this, the first thing you think is, oh, well, there's 6 extra hands. No, there isn't, because the 2 fists are already on the figure. That threw me off on a previous review, and I was like, wait a minute, no. I think they ought to only put a picture of the extra hands and not the hands that come standard on the figure. So let's go ahead and pull that sleeve off. Hulk is a very long-standing character, creation of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby's the man. There's our Hulk. You can't see him very well yet, but of course we are going to be unboxing him for the review. Here's the little bit of plastic that cover the cello window to keep the cello window from getting scuffed up. First appearance, Incredible Hulk #1, May of 1962. That was quite a long time ago. Really can't see him very well. I like the idea of the display box, you know, getting back to the box again here, so that you can look at it in the window box. If you are an in-the-box collector, you can just take that sleeve off and look at it like this. But you really can't see him because he's covered with pieces of plastic. And then again, since it's a generic box, just a basic box, it's easy to counterfeit. And it's a thin material as well. It's getting thinner. I have other ones where they were doing a transition into this style where the box is actually a little thicker than that. So we're going to go ahead and open this up on the bottom. And I'll show you how to do that again, since I always do. For those of you who have not seen these before, an easy way to get this open is you can slide a knife or any other tool in the bottom and just give it a little twist like that, and that way you can open it up without putting creases in the box flap, because that gets to be an issue with some people. There's already a little bit of a crease on there even though this hasn't been opened. But I didn't do it. Let's go ahead and slide him out. And this is a lot heavier than the other figures, obviously. There's your piece of paper that comes with it now that warns you that this is a collectible and not to play with it really rough because you'll wreck it, which makes me wonder if they shouldn't change what's written on the box, because it says pose, play, display, but then it tells you don't play with it. So basically it says don't play with it. So don't tell us to pose, play, and display when we can't. Go ahead and set that back there. Go ahead and lift that tray off and see what we got going on here. It's covered up. Everything is wrapped inside this. And there's a very machined sort of a smell from this already. I can detect it. Kind of like a factory odor coming off of this. I'm not going to tip it too far forward because he will fall out. Pieces will fall out anyways, and I don't want that to happen, even though these are a lot thicker than the pieces normally are. But we're going to be opening this up. There's a second tray underneath, of course, that has other accessories. The stand in the back, the 1/12 collective Ziploc bag, and the posing arm. And I'm kind of surprised. This looks like the basic posing arm that they give you for the figures anyway. It's not larger, and I would think that they would put a larger arm for this figure. This clamp does not even really look like it will fit around his waist. So I don't know how well that's going to work. We're going to find out here because we're going to take him out and stand him up and take a closer look at the accessories.
Letting your imagination run away with you now. I have never seen this creature that you're talking about.
Forgive me, Doctor, but I am calling you a liar.
Mr. McGee! Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
And here we are back with our MEZCO 1/12 collective Gladiator Hulk figure out of the package. And we're back to the old problem with the foot pegs. First of all, I'm a little disappointed with the stand overall, the platform that he's standing on, that is, because again, I think it's just really lazy, I guess, of MEZCO to just say Thor Ragnarok on it like they did on the front of the box, instead of specifying that this is indeed the Hulk. I would have preferred that he have something a little bit more unique on the stand and more unique on the box. Mixed media, of course. And another thing that you'll notice here is that the mixed media, that looks like it's just printed on there. There is a little bit of texturing to it, but for the most part, all of these colors and lines and everything are just sort of printed on. There was the problem with the foot peg. His foot does not want to fit on the peg. That's a common problem with a lot of those platforms, with a lot of the stands. They've been doing better with it recently, but with the Hulk, his foot does not want to fit on the peg very well. You can see it's actually not even all the way on the peg. His foot is raised up a little bit because it won't fit in there properly. I haven't had a chance to try the arm out yet, but I will, to see how well that works out. Overall, the look of the figure isn't that bad. It looks pretty decent. It looks like the first appearance Gladiator Hulk from Thor Ragnarok when he first comes into the arena. But all MEZCO really had to do was just copy a pre-existing design. And this design has been done again and again and again. And that's probably part of the reason why a lot of MEZCO collectors are expressing disappointment in this figure so far, is that they all basically look the same. All the Gladiator Hulk figures basically look the same. As a matter of fact, this one looks like a blown up version of the Legends Build-A-Figure Gladiator Hulk, which I have one, but it's packed up. I couldn't find it because I was going to pull it out and put them side by side to make a comparison. This one just looks like a little bit bigger version than the Legends Build-A-Figure Gladiator Hulk. Even the accessories are the same. So this is a design that's been done over and over and over. And MEZCO is very late with these figures coming out. It's January. You know, it was end of December, beginning of January, before people started even getting these. And I don't even have Thor yet. I ordered the Thor also. I've got the Thor coming. It's not here. Because I could have put them side by side for a comparison. I thought that would have been interesting. But Thor isn't available. So it's like, what the hell, MEZCO? Where is everything? I got my Legends Hulk Gladiator Build-A-Figure over a year ago. It was like last summer. It's like a year and a half. You are the last ones to get your Gladiator Hulk out. And so everyone else has done it, and so that puts you in the position of being the one that gets compared to everyone else's Hulk. Let's take a look at the hands. Good detail on the hands. These are the clutching or grasping hands here. Good detail on the hands. I suppose that it's about big enough that you could even possibly grasp onto another figure and hold him up. That would be interesting to pose him with. Clutching hands for holding the weapons and accessories. And these are some big mitts. The second head, the grimacing head, and his teeth. Hold on, am I get that in frame right? Here we go. His teeth look gold. I don't know how well that's coming through, but they look like they're painted shiny gold. Can you see that? I don't remember. Was he wearing something on his teeth in the movie? They're painted gold. I do not recall. I'll have to look into that. I'm curious about that now. MEZCO 112 Collective Ziploc bag. And then the weapons, the axe and the hammer, which are actually pretty solid. Usually the accessories, the weapons, are pretty thin and kind of flimsy with the MEZCOs. You got to be careful with them, but these feel really heavy and solid. As they should be. And then there's the stand. And again, I'm not sure that stand can support him. I think it's too small. And especially this bit, this is the standard size. I don't know if that'll fit around his waist at all. Or if it could hold up the weight of the figure. This figure is much heavier than the standard MEZCO 112 figure. And to give you a size comparison, I've got Old Man Logan out here. We'll just stand Old Man Logan up in front of him and you can see how much larger Hulk is in 1/12 scale. So we're going to take him off of there. Just put Logan away for a minute. Take the Hulk off and have a look at his articulation overall. Limited head movement. Very limited head movement. And it might be because of this helmet, so we'll see how well the head moves when we switch the head around. Joints are very stiff. Wow, that is very stiff. It does not want to move at all. Limited range, especially on the left arm because of this shoulder plate, which is attached to the mixed media straps that are on the outside of his torso. So he's tough to move around here. That arm's not going to go all the way up. Goodness. Bending the elbows here, having a lot of difficulty. Doesn't want to bend. Very limited range of movement. That's about it. Very limited range of movement. Wrist movement is really good. On that hand, on this hand, it's restricted by the gauntlet that he's wearing on his forearm. That's a little better. Going around that way. Torso only at the waist. Limited pivot side to side. Goes back about that far. Forward about that much. Very limited torso movement as well. Split's pretty good. Forward motion's not bad. Backward motion is very limited. Oh, wow. That's very tight also. Knees only about to there. It's not going any further. This does not pose very well. It does not want to move. Ankle tilt. Very limited range here also. The sabatons are blocking the ankles from moving forward, but they bend back pretty well. Actually, that feels like it's almost going to pop off bending forward. It's on there good. You see the little tiny hole, and this is smaller than the peg here. So very limited range of movement all the way around. He is very stiff and restricted in a lot of places, and I think that was one of the complaints. There is some texturing to this, but it's mostly printed. The fabrics around his waist. This is all plastic, even here where it's shiny. I think it would have been nice if they had done some of this in die cast, because MEZCO has done that with figures. You know, die cast here, die cast on the shoulder, on the arm gauntlet, maybe the helmet. This helmet is affixed. I think it would have been nice if the helmet was removable. If the helmet could come off, I would have liked that. Even the Legends Build-A-Figure, the helmet comes off. And the brush is a solid piece. It's plastic. They could have done mixed media on the brush, and I don't think it would have cost that much more. I would have been a lot more impressed if this was an actual fabric brush. See about the head change here. That pops right off, no problem. We'll put the other head on and see how that works. No problem with the head change. I kind of like that one better, actually, because the helmet just sort of bothers me a little bit. Better range of motion with this head. Up and down is still pretty restricted, though. I thought the helmet was the problem, but apparently it's the joint. Hands. Hands shouldn't be a problem because they're so big. Yeah, look at the size of that peg. Hands are not going to be a problem. Yeah, that's pretty easy. So there's some room for improvement. If I was in charge of this project, there's some things I would have done a little differently. I think I would have liked to have seen a jointing onto the ribs. I think I would have made the helmet so that it could be removed, so that you could have a screaming head with the helmet off. I would have made a fabric brush, and I would have put die cast plates on this. I don't know how well you could have improved the articulation, considering the bulk of the figure, how thick and wide he is. And yeah, guys, those of you who are waiting for Darkseid, expect the same problems, because that's another huge bulky figure. Another thing that I've noticed, I don't know how well you can see it. I hope it's coming out well. I try to do the best I can with the lighting. There's some variations in the green. I think you can see it best in his face. If you compare his face to like his neck, the neck and torso are much darker, and the arms appear to be lighter than the torso also. Can you see that there? I think there's some coloration issues. It's slight on the body, but you can see it if you really look at the arms and legs and compare them to the torso. It stands out more with the head and face though. So there's a little bit of coloring. I haven't heard anybody complain about that, but I'm noticing it. Let's see if we can get him into a pose and check out how that looks. And we are back with our MEZCO 112 Collective Gladiator Hulk in about as much of a pose as I can really get him into. He is very limited with his range of motion. Basically, he can kind of just stand there. I can't lock him into any type of a position. You see I've got his arms up. His hand is big enough that he can clasp around another figure, and you see I've got Old Man Logan up there. This arm, as I suspected, it's not wide enough to fit around his torso. That is effectively The width, actually that's not even correct. Hold on, let me open that up a little bit more. Right about there. Right about there is how wide he is. That's how wide he is. There's no way this can support him. It's not going to lift him up or move him. And I don't think his weight can be supported by this arm either. This is too small. MEZCO dropped the ball on this arm. Overall, he looks good, but again, the common problem, he looks like every other Gladiator Hulk figure that's been put on the market. They all pretty much look the same. And because MEZCO was so late in getting these out, it puts them in the position of having their figure compared to everyone else's. So you've got the same figure that's already been done with very limited posability, and you paid more than the average MEZCO 1/12 figure for it. And I think that's why a lot of people are frustrated with this figure. I still like it. I'm going to keep this. You know, I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, you know, the hell with MEZCO. I still like it, but I think that there was room for improvement. I think they missed some opportunities. As I had previously pointed out, they could have used some die-cast parts to add to the overall aesthetic properties of the figure and how it looks. Make it a little bit more impressive, you know, a little bit better quality. Maybe worked on the jointing a little bit more. I know it's a big, thick, chunky figure, but they could have worked on that a little bit better. I didn't have any problems changing out heads and hands. I didn't have any problems getting the axe in his hand. The fingers are somewhat rubberized, so rolling it in like I normally do, you can get it in there without damaging anything. I think the second head should have had a removable helmet. Back to that again. I think this helmet should have been able to come off, and you can see that it's basically a head under there, and it looks like it should be able to come off. You can actually see hair, a hairline under there in the back, but this helmet is permanently affixed. And a real brush on the top of the helmet would have been nice. Just my 2 cents about this figure. And again, I'm not a fan of when they just give it like a generic title like they did here, Thor Ragnarok. They could have at least said Gladiator Hulk underneath. Thor Ragnarok Gladiator Hulk. Just saying. Again, I like the overall look of the figure, but there's definitely room for improvement, especially since MEZCO collectors had to wait so long for it. They had to wait so long for it. Good news is, though, that if you're interested in getting this figure, the price is coming down. And the price is coming down because so many MEZCO collectors who got this were disappointed, and they're reselling them. So you might can pick this up for a pretty good price before the price goes back up again. You know, this is a figure that started off, I want to say, if I remember correctly, it was $125 they were charging plus shipping, and I've been seeing them for around $100 for aftermarket from people who got it and were disappointed in it. I would take it secondhand for $100. The price is probably going to go back up because it's Hulk and because it's MEZCO 112 Collective. So, you know, now might be the time, January 2019. What do you think? What do you think of the figure? Do you think my assessment is fair? Do you like it? Is this one that you would like to add to your collection? You want to get this one? I wish the Thor was here already, and I could have put the two of them together. Maybe done a double review, but Thor is still up in the air, still waiting for it. You know what I would like to see, actually? Mr. Fix-It. Remember Mr. Fix-It from the 90s? Because originally in 1962 Hulk was gray, then they made him green, then they made him gray again by releasing the Mr. Fix-It incarnation. Then they had Smart Hulk and Red Hulk. There's a lot of versions of Hulk. I'd like to see a Mr. Fix-It Hulk. I would have liked that a lot better, actually. Maybe I should be working for MEZCO. I don't know. Anyway, tell me what you think. What do you think of the MEZCO 112 Collective Hulk, go ahead and tell me in the comments section down below. Check out some of our other reviews. I do a lot of MEZCO 112 unboxings on this channel, as well as 6th scale unboxings and other types of showcases of vintage toys and some hard to find stuff. I do Bandai sometimes. We do weekly roundups and we do discussions and toy hunts and a lot of things on this channel. So go ahead and check out some of the other things that we do. I hope that this helped you. Maybe you were on the fence about this. Maybe you decided you want to go ahead and go for it. Maybe you decided that maybe this isn't for you. Again, like I said, let me know in the comment section down below. Find me on Instagram, Open by Chance on Instagram. Join me there. So thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.
Banner, melted by gamma rays, turned into the Hulk.